Welcome to episode 47 of The Truth by the Ministry of Jesus through Mark Kilgore. I am Mark. How are you doing? That's right, Mark Kilgore, the author of this here book, Meat. Which is not the best book, but you know what? I'm making repairs for it right now by making a nice little series. By making a nice TV show. So, anyway, we're continuing on with teaching about Jesus. And so here we go. We're at the Last Supper. It's Tuesday night of the week that Jesus got crucified. Okay, Matthew 26:30. Matthew 26:30. Okay. Matthew 26:30 through 46, approximately. Okay. Now, we've just finished the reading of John 13:31 all the way to the end of John 17. Now, I think all the business is done. Judas the betrayer has been revealed. We have had the foot washing of the disciples. We've had Jesus giving a long speech and then the prayer to be glorified and praying for the saints. Alright, now then we get to Matthew 26:30. And when they had sung a hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. And I'm just going to guess that it's probably about midnight now, okay? This was a long supper. It took a long time for Jesus to do all this talking that I read. Okay, so, and the washing of the feet, etc. And so we continue on here. Then said Jesus to them, "All you shall be offended because of me this night, for it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. But after I am risen again, I will go before you into Galilee." Peter answered and said unto him, Though all shall be offended because of you, yet I will never be offended. Jesus said, Verily I say unto you, that this night before the cock crow, you shall deny me 3 times. Peter said unto him, Though I should die with you, yet I will not deny you. Likewise also said all the disciples. Then came Jesus with them unto a place called Gethsemane, that is, the Garden of Gethsemane, and said unto the disciples, Sit you here, while I go and pray yonder. And he took with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, that would be John and James, the sons of thunder, the brothers of, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy. Then said he unto them, My soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Wait here and watch with me. And he went a little farther, and fell on his face, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will. And he cometh unto the disciples, and findeth them asleep, and saith unto Peter, What? Could you not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, that you enter not into temptation. The spirit is indeed willing, but the flesh weak. He went away, and again the second time, and prayed, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, your will be done. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them, and went away again, and prayed for the 3rd time, saying the same words. I'm guessing now it's probably about 2 o'clock in the morning. Then came he to his disciples, and said unto them, Sleep on now, and take rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that does betray me. I'm sorry. Good, that was the end of the reading. Luke 22, 40 through 46. Helps if I go the right direction. Luke 22, 40 through 46. And when he was at that place, he said unto them, Pray that you not enter into temptation. And he was withdrawn from them about a stone's cast, and knelt down and prayed, saying, Father, if you be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. And there appeared an angel unto him from heaven, strengthening him. And being in an agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat became, as it were, great drops of blood falling down to the ground. And when he rose up from the prayer and was come to his disciples, he found them sleeping for sorrow. I think that means he was sorrowful to find them sleeping. And he said unto them, Why sleep ye? Rise and pray, lest ye enter into temptation. John 18, 1 to 6. John 18, 1 to 6. When Jesus had spoken these words, he went forth with his disciples over the brook Cedron, where was a garden, into which he entered, and his disciples. And Judas also, which betrayed him, knew the place, for Jesus oftentimes resorted there with his disciples. Judas then, having received a band of men and officers from the chief priests and Pharisees, came there with lanterns and torches and weapons. Jesus, therefore, knowing all things that should come upon him, went forth and said unto him, Whom seek ye? They answered, Jesus of Nazareth. And Jesus said unto them, I am he. And Judas also, which betrayed him, stood with them. And as soon then as he had said unto them, I am... Oh, he didn't say I am he. He just said I am. And as soon as he said unto them, I am, they went backward and fell to the ground. How about that? All these people that had come against Jesus, just somehow the power of him, God putting on flesh, and just somehow Jesus had so much power that he said, I am, and it just blasted these guys back down to the ground with the sound waves of his voice. I'm guessing. Or else what? Is just so scary when Jesus stands there and says, I am? I don't think so. Okay, so Judas betrays Jesus with a kiss. Luke 22, 47 to 51. Luke 22, 47 to 51. And while he yet spoke, behold, a multitude, and he that was called Judas, one of the 12, went before them, and drew near unto Jesus to kiss him. But Jesus said unto him, Judas, do you betray the Son of Man with a kiss? When they which were about him saw what would follow, they said unto him, Lord, shall we smite with the sword? And one of them smote the servant of the high priest, and cut off his right ear. And Jesus answered and said, Suffer ye thus far. And he touched his ear, and healed him. That man's name is Malchus, that soldier. John 18:11. So John 18:11 says, Then Jesus said unto Peter, Put up your sword into the sheath. The cup which my Father has given me, shall I not drink it? Matthew 26, 52 to 56. Matthew 26, 52 to 56. Then said Jesus unto him, Put up again your sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Do you not think that I cannot pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels? But how then shall the Scriptures be fulfilled, that thus it must be? In that same hour said Jesus to the multitudes, Are you come out against a thief with sword? Are you come out as against a thief with swords and staves for to take me? I sat daily with you, teaching in the temple, and you laid no hold on me. But all this was done, that the scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. Then all the disciples forsook him and fled. Mark 14, 48 to 65. Mark 14, 48 to 65. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Are you come out against me as a thief with swords and with staves to take me? I was daily with you in the temple teaching, and you took me not. But the scriptures must be fulfilled. And they all forsook him and fled. And there followed him a certain young man, having a linen cloth cast about his naked body. And the young men laid hold on him. And he left the linen cloth, and fled from them naked. And they led Jesus away to the high priest, and with him were assembled all the chief priests and elders and the scribes. And Peter followed him afar off, even into the palace of the high priest. And he sat with the servants, and warmed himself at the fire. And the chief priests and all the council sought for witness against Jesus to put him to death, and found none. For many bare false witness against him, but their witness did not agree together. And there arose certain, and bare false witness against him, saying, We heard him say, I will destroy this temple that is made with hands, and within 3 days I will build another temple made without hands. But neither did their witnesses agree together. And the high priest stood up in the midst and asked Jesus, saying, Do you answer nothing? What is it which these witness against thee? But he, Jesus, held his peace, and answered nothing. Again the high priest asked him, and said unto him, Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed? And blessed was capitalized there. And Jesus said, I am, and you shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power, and coming in the clouds of heaven. Then the high priest rent his clothes, and said, What need we of any further witness? You have heard the blasphemy, what think ye? And they all condemned him to be guilty of death. And some began to spit on him, and to cover his face, and to buffet him, and say unto him, Prophesy! And the servants did strike him with the palms of their hands. Okay, I'm thinking this is probably now about 4 a.m. So, Jesus got sent to Pontius Pilate. And that's probably about 6 a.m., I'm thinking. When Pilate learns that Jesus is of Galilee, he sends him to Herod, King Herod. So, Jesus goes to Herod. When Jesus gets to Herod, Jesus won't talk at all. Bores Herod, I guess. I'm guessing that's about 8 a.m. Jesus then is sent back to Pontius Pilate. Luke 23, 8 to 16. Now, this is Wednesday now. Okay. And again, I'm guessing this is about 8 o'clock that Herod sent Jesus back to Pontius. I'm guessing that now Jesus is standing in front of Pontius. I'm just going to guess somewhere around 10 o'clock. Luke 23, 8 to 16. On Wednesday. 10 a.m. Wednesday. We're just going to guess. Luke 23, 8 to 16. And when Herod saw Jesus, he was exceeding glad, for he was desiring to see him of a long season, because he had heard many things of him, and he'd hoped that to have some miracle done by him. Then he questioned him in many words, but he answered him nothing. And the chief priests and scribes stood and vehemently accused him. And Herod with his men of war set him at naught, and mocked him, and arrayed him in a gorgeous robe, and sent him again to Pilate. They despised him. And the same day Pilate, and I wonder why he put that gorgeous robe on him though. And the same day Pilate and Herod were made friends together, for before they were enemies between themselves. Interesting, so this brought them together. And Pilate, when he had called together the chief priests and the rulers and the people, said unto them, You have brought this man unto me as one that perverts the people. And behold, I, having examined him before you, have found no fault in this man touching those things whereof you accuse him. No, nor Herod, for I sent you to him, and lo, nothing worthy of death is done unto him. I will therefore chastise him and release him. John 19, 1-22. Then Pilate therefore took Jesus and scourged him. And the soldiers plaited a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and they put on him a purple robe. I thought the purple robe came from Herod. Then and said, Hail, King of the Jews! And they smote him with their hands. Pilate therefore went forth again, and said unto them, Behold, I bring him forth to you, that you may know that I find no fault in him. Then Jesus came forth, wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe. And Pilate saith unto them, Behold the man! Now Jesus has been scourged. Here it says in 19:1 that Pilate took Jesus and scourged him. He had him scourged. Okay, Jesus is really messed up and bloody now. If you've seen the Passion of the Christ, you have an idea what I'm talking about. So Pilate says, Behold the man! And when the chief priests, therefore, and officers saw him, they cried out, saying, S'il-vous-plaît! Crucify him! Crucify him! Pilate said unto them, Take you him and crucify, for I find no fault in him. The Jews answered him, We have a law, and by our law he ought to die, because he made himself the Son of God. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he was the more afraid, and went again into the judgment hall, and said unto Jesus, From where are you? But Jesus gave him no answer. Then said Pilate unto him, Do you not speak unto me? Do you not know that I have the power to crucify you, and have the power to release you? Jesus answered, You could have no power against me, except it were given you from above. Therefore, he that delivered me unto you has the greater sin. And from thenceforth, Pilate sought to release him. Pilate wanted to release Jesus. But the Jews cried out, saying, If you let this man go, you are no friend of Caesar's. Whosoever make himself a king speaks against Caesar. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he brought Jesus forth, and sat down in the judgment seat, in a place that is called the Pavement, capital P, but in the Hebrew, Gabbatha. And it was the preparation of the Passover, and about the 6th hour. Okay, 6th hour, meaning now it's getting to be about noontime. It's time to get Jesus on the cross. And he said to the Jews, Behold your king! But they cried out, Away with him! Away with him! Crucify him! Pilate said unto them, Shall I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, We have no king but Caesar. Then he delivered him therefore unto them to be crucified, and they took Jesus and led him away. And Jesus, bearing his cross, went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is called in the Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him, and two other with him on either side, and Jesus in the midst. And Pilate wrote a title, and put it on the cross. And the writing was, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. This title was then read many of the Jews. For the place where Jesus was crucified was near to the city, and it was written in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. Then said the chief priests of the Jews to Pilate, Write not the King of the Jews, but that he said, I am the King of the Jews. Pilate answered, What I have written, I have written. John 12:32. In John 12:32, Jesus said, actually I'll do 12:31. Okay, this is after Jesus had prayed in verse 28. This is John 12, verse 28. Jesus said, Father, glorify thy name. Then came a voice from heaven saying, I have both glorified it and will glorify again. The people therefore that stood by and heard it said that it thundered. Others said an angel spoke to him. Jesus answered and said, This voice came not because of me, but for your sakes. Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. And I, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all unto me. Meaning all judgment is what I believe. And Andrew Womack believes. Jesus will draw all judgment to him. Not all men. You don't see all men being drawn to Jesus. But he did draw all judgment to himself. Okay. Back to John 19, verse 23. Then the soldiers, when they had crucified Jesus, took his garments and made 4 parts, to every soldier a part, and also his coat. Now the coat was without seam, woven from the top throughout. They said therefore among themselves, Let us not rend it, meaning let us not rip it, let us not tear it, but cast lots for it, whose it shall be, that the scripture might be fulfilled. I'm sure that they didn't say that. That the scripture might be fulfilled, which said, They parted my clothing among them, and for my parted my raiment among them, and for my vesture they did cast lots. These things, therefore, the soldiers did. Okay, I want to point out that even as far as non-Christian witnesses, in the Babylonian Talmud, it said, On the eve of the Passover, they hanged the Christ, because he practiced sorcery and led Israel astray. Also, this is really impressive. This was by the historian Tiberius. Tiberius said, now see, Jesus was crucified about the 6th hour, noon, and the sky went dark from the 6th hour to the 9th. That is in Luke 23, 44 to 45a. We'll go there. Luke 23, 44. And it was about the 6th hour, and there was darkness over all the earth until the 9th hour, and the sun was darkened. Okay. The Tiberius said this. When the Christ was crucified, the sky went dark from the 6th hour to the 9th hour. It was like the sky was filled with blood. We do not deny it, but those misled, misguided Christians do not realize it was a solar eclipse. But astronomers, on the other hand, say that's impossible, that none happened that year, and that the ones that did happen within a few years of that, before or after, none lasted more than 6 minutes and some change. Okay, while Jesus scourged, crucified, cursed, naked or nearly naked, and bearing in his body every curse, all sickness, all infirmity, all disease, every sin of all mankind, past, present, and future. On that cross, Jesus became a man of few words, but he did say 7 things that we know of. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That is Luke 23:34. You will be with me in paradise today, he said to one of the thieves. Luke 23:36 to 43. Son, okay, as John and Mary stood in front of Jesus, Jesus said, Son, behold your mother. Mother, behold your son. It was an adoption, if you understand. John was to take care of Mary now in Jesus' stead. That was John 19:26. Jesus, now we're getting close to the end. Jesus said, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, which is, my God, why have you forsaken me? That's according to Matthew 27:46 and Mark 15:34. Jesus said, I thirst, and they gave him vinegar on a sponge. Luke 23:36, John 19:28, Matthew 27:37. Jesus cried with a loud voice, then said, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. Luke 23:46. Then Jesus said, it is finished. John 19:30. Jesus passed away. Matthew 27:50. Mark 15:37. Luke 23:46. Matthew 27:50 through 54, I think we're supposed to read. Matthew 27:50 to 54. Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in two. The veil that was in front of the holiest of holies. An extremely thick and powerful, strong veil, which 2 teams of horses hooked up to either side didn't have any chance to pull apart. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in two from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose. That means the dead rose there, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. How about that for some power of an event? Now when the centurion and they that were with him watching Jesus saw the earthquake and those things that were done, they feared greatly, saying, Truly, this was the Son of God. Okay, we're out of time on this show. We'll be joining you next time. I love you, and the Lord Jesus loves you infinitely more. His grace is there for you. We'll see you. Bye.